Hello, everyone. This is Nathan Nootbaar with NSMA here with Greg Schulte, the voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks for 26 years, who has just won Sports Broadcaster of the Year for the state of Arizona. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for being with me today. So just kicking things off, right? This past year, obviously winning the award, kind of just take me through, this past year for you.
Well, I had announced that it was my final year of broadcasting Diamondbacks baseball. I began with the organization when they started playing games in 1998. Uh, the only voice of the team that still remained. So I got 26 seasons in, and it was kind of a surprise, I think, to everyone that the Diamondbacks got into the postseason number one, and then got all the way to the World Series. So it was quite a way to end the career. Unfortunately, it ended with the World Series loss to Texas, but nonetheless, getting there was a true joy.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, the Diamondbacks were really the surprise team in last year's MLB playoffs for sure. But hey, at least you got to witness a World Series win back in '01, though.
Yeah, that was fun. That was obviously following 9/11, and so much was online. And, the United States especially was really kind of looking for some kind of an out, something to kind of get them regrouped. And I think baseball and the postseason of the World Series itself gave them that escape and that fun. And it was quite a World Series. It went all the way down to Game 7, final inning, bottom of the ninth inning for Game 7. And fortunately for the Diamondbacks, they ended up winning it. But the way the Yankees won those three games in New York, all three games, two of them were walk-off wins, were just phenomenal and just kind of lifted the country, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was one of the I guess, one of the more memorable World Series in recent history. So I guess through your years of covering the Diamondbacks, do you have any like favorite players you love talking to? Ones that maybe people wouldn't expect were, I don't know, more characters than others?
I get asked that question a lot, and I think all of them were my favorites. Diamondbacks have done a really good job of getting some really good people, besides baseball players, in who are always willing to give themselves to the valley and do things outside of baseball. Luis Gonzalez obviously was a favorite. Probably one of the all-time great Diamondback players. Randy Johnson uh, was not that bad. He gets kind of scrutinized for, what transpired when he pitched the ball game, but uh, talked to Randy a lot over the years, and he's become Chatty Randy.
Yeah.
His retirement now, but there've been a lot of Brandon Webb, Travis Lee was one of the first Diamondbacks. Tony Womack was a favorite. Paul Goldschmidt. The list goes on and on. Current Diamondbacks, they've got a lot of young players that enjoy talking and are very personable. Zach Gallen, our star pitcher for the Diamondbacks. So it's a lot of different players over the years, and as I said, I enjoyed meeting all of them because everybody's got a different story.
Right, right, for sure. Yeah, so kind of just going back on your whole career, how'd you kind of get into the position where you're the radio voice of the Diamondbacks right as they were founding the team?
Well, I told my parents when I was 8 years old I wanted to be a Major League Baseball broadcaster. Uh, I grew up in the Quad Cities, which is the western portion of Illinois, the eastern portion of Iowa. There are four cities there.
Mhm.
And my dad was a big Cardinals fan. We went down to what was then known as Sportsman's Park to watch the Cardinals play, where I, as a kid, saw Stan Musial play, Bob Gibson start his career, Kurt Flood,
Wow. Yeah.
Tim McCarver. I mean, a lot of the guys that, went on to win the 1964 World Series against the New York Yankees. But, I played baseball when I was a kid, and I listened to a lot of baseball. Back then, we got one game a week on television, and that
Mhm.
was the game of the week, is what it was called. It was Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese. They were hosting the baseball game, and they would broadcast that. So most of my baseball experience came over the radio, and I would listen to KMOX in St. Louis, which had a good skip, 50,000 watts. We could pick them up in the Quad Cities, and I
Mhm.
would listen to Harry Carey and Jack Buck broadcast Cardinals baseball, and that's how I uh, decided that you know if I can't play baseball, maybe I could broadcast baseball. Well,
Right.
it took me a lot of years to get to that point, but I was fortunate to get 26 years of broadcasting Major League Baseball.
Mhm.
And I owe that to Harry Curie and Jack Buck, a couple of Hall of Famers.
Oh yeah, of course. Legends in the broadcasting industry, right? So I guess before the Diamondbacks, what were your gigs going on before Arizona?
Yeah, I started working in radio back in 1971 and landed a couple of different positions in my hometown in the Quad Cities. I started out in news and moved pretty fast into sports, where I broadcast high school and college. Uh, my last year in the Quad Cities, I broadcast University of Iowa basketball. And
Mhm.
Lute Olson was the head coach at that time for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Moved out to Phoenix in 1979 with my wife, Nancy. And we've been married. We were married in 1973. So we came out here and I got a job at KTAR Radio in Phoenix, broadcast Arizona State football, baseball, and basketball with Tom Dillon, who was a frequent winner of this award that I'm so honored to get this year. And also the legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster Al McCoy, who just retired at 90 years old as the voice of the Phoenix Suns. He also was a frequent winner in Arizona. Those two had pretty much locked up the award for a lot of years, but learned a lot under both of them. I also broadcast 4 years of Arizona Cardinals football after they'd moved in from St. Louis. But my true love was baseball and got an opportunity. Jerry Colangelo was the owner of the Suns. Took over ownership also of the uh, to be named Arizona Diamondbacks and announced me as one of the radio broadcasters. And I've been the lead radio broadcaster since 1998. So again, it was just a kid with a wild dream and kind of wanted to be a broadcaster, and those dreams panned out.
Yeah, so for I guess a kid like me who has similar dreams of
Exactly.
being a broadcaster, what advice would you give to
Don't
someone
give them
like
up.
me?
Yeah, don't give up those dreams because they can happen.
Right. Just don't give up, just keep pushing.
Just keep pushing. Yep.
I can do that.
Make as many contacts as you can. Uh, the business is a lot busier now uh, than when I got into it. I was fortunate, but like I said, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So I
Right.
grew up in a town of about 2,500, so
Right.
not very big at all. So it can happen.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, right here, Greg Schulte, 26 years, voice of the Diamondbacks. You heard his stories, incredible career. Congrats on your retirement and finally winning Sports Broadcaster of the Year. Yeah, thank you for joining me today on this interview. It was incredible to hear all your stories and stuff like that. So, thank you for being on.
All right, Nathan, thank you.
Thank you.